Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. The title of today's show is Can Potenza Tau Ever Reach the Current Value of Bitcoin? We're going to look at some of the charts. We're going to look at the tokenomics and see what is possible for this AI blockchain that has been on an absolute tear since I gave the trade setup at $233 less than 2 weeks ago in the Tribal Trades Discord. It has gone on an absolute tear up to around, I believe it was about $390 and a little bit of a pullback. We'll look at the charts in just a moment to verify all that. But before we do that, smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people, and of course does help support the channel, as does your wonderful comments that you take the time to write. I take the time to read them and respond. So let's quickly have a look at the Tau charts. And first of all, I want to have a look at it against Bitcoin, because we are comparing it against the Bitcoin price and potential price. I'm not comparing it to Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, but it does have a supply of only 21 million tokens. It is mined like Bitcoin, so not all the tokens are out. Only about under half the supply is out at the moment, and these tokens are mined. And of course, there is a halving like Bitcoin. I believe it's going to be around, originally I'd heard November, and then recently I feel like I've heard January that it has its own halving as well every 4 years, I believe, there for Tau also. So there's a lot of similarities. It's a blockchain as the same as Bitcoin and as AI, but it has a difference there because it has subnets. And we're going to get that in a moment of what a subnet is and what kind of a community Tau is building. But you can see we've got a little bit of a bull flag on the daily time frame. This is against Bitcoin, so it would have been far better to have been in Tau than in Bitcoin, since around early April there's been a few opportunities to buy these little dips that have happened here, and it just continues to go up there against the price of Bitcoin. Very important to look at your coin, your altcoin that you're trading against Bitcoin. If it's down against Bitcoin, that means you would have made more money if you'd been in Bitcoin. And if it's up against Bitcoin, you would have made more money had you been in Tau, of course, in this case. Let's have a look at the price charts here. And as you can see, it's been on absolute monster tear. We got stopped just short of the 50-week moving average, big key area, about 3.8, looks like 389. So we just didn't quite get to my 391 target that I have up there. Currently, it is right on the 200 EMA on the daily there at 364. So it really needs to hold that there, that line in the sand there, of course, and there are further supports to the downside. But that's the main one that I'd be looking for there. And then we have the 20 EMA on the weekly, of course, down there at 346, which on this latest dip, it held the line beautifully there for those of you who managed to buy the dip there or take this trade to the upside there for Tau. So that's what I'm looking for Tau. So those are the technicals on that. That's what I'm looking forward to the upside. A break of, now obviously 371, haven't been managed, 377, has been a tough nut to crack. And we've closed on or around that and not managed to bust through these wicks up here. So I would say this 377 level, if we can have a candle close above that, that's going to be bullish. And then obviously a break above the 50-week moving average. I would expect us to, as long as Bitcoin stays bullish, I would expect us to at least get up and test this $421, which is the 200-day moving average, which by the time it gets up there, it may not be at 421. Could be a little bit lower, like around 420, 419, or around these levels here. So you can see these levels I have to the upside. I do expect, as long as Bitcoin stays in its bullish trend and does not lose market structure, I do expect Tau to eventually make its way up to here. And of course, there could be some pullbacks in the meantime. We already did see one down to the 20 EMA in the weekly. That seems to be a big level there to hold 346. So trading between 346 and 391 just for the meantime. Now let's look at the potential of Tau to go past. Now I like this post by Nick here, valuing Bitcoin versus Potenza Tau. Did Tau ever reach the current value of Bitcoin? Let's break it down. Bitcoin's value can be explained by Metcalfe's law. Value of the network grows proportionally to the number of its users, basically. More users, more connections, more value. Bitcoin is a one single global network, and so every new user strengthens the value by increasing the number of possible connections. Potenza Tau is different. It's better measured by Reed's law. Reed's law says that a network where users can form subgroups like subnets, the value grows exponentially faster. Why does that matter? Because Tau isn't just one network, it's a network of networks, base layer, and subnets. Each subnet adds new combinations of utility, accelerating growth beyond just user counts. So looking at Potenza from this lens helps explain why Barry Silbert gives Tau a small but real possibility of reaching Bitcoin's current market cap one day. Reed's law shows why Potenza has the potential for exponential driven growth. So Bitcoin is Metcalfe's law, value from pure user connections. Potenza Reed's law, value from both users and subnet combinations. Network effect drives value, but not all networks are valued the same way. Now, the subnets, obviously, I believe there's 100 subnets now, and I think the first subnets went live, 75 days ago or something. And really, it's just technology that is building within the Tau ecosystem. So you might have some kind of AI modeling or AI storage, kind of a subnet, whatever, that's built within the Tau ecosystem. And you can probably in your own time use Grok or ChatGPT to do a deep dive into the Tau subnets, or you could also look for a list of all the subnets and break down their functionality and value. And each subnet is valued in Tau. So for example, the Shoots network is about 0.27 of a Tau. It was 0.31 of a Tau. Now it's dropped in value to 0.27 of a Tau. And you can actually invest in these subnets by using the Tau wallet. They're not like altcoins that are sitting on Solana, or altcoins that are sitting on Sui that you can buy on exchanges or in the Sui wallet or on the Solana wallet, the Phantom decentralized exchange. These subnets can be invested by taking your Tau and staking them in the subnets. Now, I did a full video on how you can earn anywhere between, usually around 100% investing in these subnets. If you take your Tau and invest them in the subnets, you can get over 100% APY, but your Tau is going to fluctuate in value up or down on the performance of the subnet. So that is risk. Of course, you can just stake your Tau in the Root network, which is just pinned to the price of Tau, and you get around about a 30% return on investment. Go see the video that I did Monday there on how to stake your Tau and earn yield. Now let's look at our wonderful crypto calculator here, and you can see here, this just shows us that if, for example, XRP had the same market cap of Ethereum, it would go up by a whopping, wowzers, about 60%, wouldn't even double in price. Current price around just over $2 at the moment. So it wouldn't even get over $4 if it would, even if it flipped ETH, it would only be $3.75. However, you look at Tau here, and what you've got is Tau and the price with the market cap of Ethereum turns it into $25,000 because there's only 21 million supply. It's very important that market cap matters, supply matters, tokenomics matters a lot on the potential of how high a coin can go. You see all those YouTube videos, XRP to $100. How is it going to get to $100? If it becomes the second most biggest crypto, it's only going to get to, and while we're on there, we might as well go one more level up here. Or if it gets to the market cap of Bitcoin, it surely will get to $50. Wrong, $32. So, and it's going to have to flip Bitcoin. And XRP, in my opinion, is never flipping Bitcoin with a $100 billion token supply, with half of them held by XRP themselves, which they gleefully unlock 1 billion of those tokens every month to dump on retail. Sometimes they don't, but most of the times they do. They can lock it up again, but it's always there. That's the problem. If they don't dump it on retail today, it's going to be another time, and they've got a massive amount of that supply. So then let's look at Tau in Bitcoin. So what's that? That was a whopping 14x. It's not bad, but that would have to get to Bitcoin. Now, if Tau gets to Bitcoin's current market cap, it makes it 216,000. Now, of course, by the time that Tau, you ask, well, Bitcoin's only 95 or 94, 95K. Why would it be double that? Because most of Bitcoin supply is out, where Tau is a newer token. So it's, it hasn't had as many halvings as Bitcoin, and its supply is not as high. So as more supply comes out, that price will go down. So if Tau had the same amount of coins out as Bitcoin, it would be exactly the same price. But you do see the potential that if Tau's market cap gets to Bitcoin's current market cap a lot higher, that number could be like 150,000, 200,000, for example. So it is actually possible that Tau gets to a $200,000 per coin. Small chance. I think it's more realistic that it can slowly follow in Bitcoin's footsteps. It might take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to get there, but it can get there and can achieve that. And that's why Barry Silbert, who bought Bitcoin originally at $11 and built his billions of dollars he was able to create off Bitcoin and off the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust that eventually got converted into an ETF to rival BlackRock's ETF. And so a lot of people bought into the narrative that could Tau possibly follow Bitcoin, maybe not be the next Bitcoin, but could follow Bitcoin and grow price exponentially. So the answer to that question is yes, it is possible. It is possible. It's a small possibility, but it is possible that Tau could possibly get there. And if you look, even if it doesn't get to Bitcoin's value, maybe it gets to XRP's value. That would put it at 15,000 a coin. That's not too bad either, is it? And it's quite interesting if you flip them around. I'm actually going to do something here and show you what I think buying Tau today would be like. You show XRP's market, if they had the market cap of Tau, is 5 cents. So I think actually buying Tau today is pretty much like buying XRP when it was 5 cents. You can't look at the dollar value. That's why people get put off by Bitcoin. Oh, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. I'm not going to make money. Meanwhile, this whole cycle, Bitcoin's performed almost every other altcoin out there on the market. Crazy, but true. And that's why Bitcoin dominance is so high. And certainly now, if you ask, well, would you buy Potenza Tau today? I bought it at $233 when I gave that entry in Discord here at $233, and shared that was probably the last opportunity to get the final buys in before the bull market resumes. And even if that was it, and this is actually not a bull market, we're in a bear market rally, that's an enormous amount of money that people have made following that trade there in the Discord there. Well, that's all we have time for today. I've given you some great targets for swing trades for Tau. Make sure you set your stop losses on any trades that you do take, unless Bitcoin comes down and drops. I'm going to be sharing Bitcoin latest in the Discord, in the Tribal Trades Discord. You can sign up for that if you open the more button. The description will pop up. There's a link there, and you can join the Tribal Trades Discord there. You can request to join. And then, of course, the Stocks with Josh Discord. I'm also in that as well, and I'll share the latest on Bitcoin in the Tribal Trades and the Stocks with Josh Discord, where I share education, insights, trade setups, resources, and of course, entertainment, because this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? Okay. So until I see you in the next episode, or until I see you on the Discord, happy trading.